Hi there everybody, it is Chris with eVelocityLabs. Today we are looking at event sentries in regards to programs specifically. Event sentries come in a couple different flavors. They just allow you to monitor Windows events that take place on a system, and because of that we can use them in a few different ways, but today we're going to focus on programs specifically and backup programs specifically, and we're going to look at how StorageCraft SPX, Shadow Protect SPX works, and the events that it creates and how we can monitor for them to ensure that we're monitoring for backup successes taking place on our system. And what I have for you today, I have my setup is I have two different backups taking place. They're stored in separate paths, and these backups take place every 30 minutes is how it's currently configured. When the backups run, they create events in the Windows event log. What we have here is you can see it creates an event down below. The event is an information level event. It is the source, Shadow Protect SPX, and the event ID is 3. The only difference between the two backup jobs is the message body. And so if you look down on the message body, it has the name of the backup job, which is actually nice. It's useful. Allows us to tell which event took place for which job. And as I click on the other one, you'll see that it's changed. So we can see the base backup has run, and it also gives us the path to where it ran in the actual file name. We can use either one of these things to help identify which of these events belongs where. So that'll make more sense here in a moment. It allows us to uniquely identify them. All right, we'll start by creating a program. We're just going to create a new one, and let's just call it SPX Event Monitor. All right, we've created the program, and now we'll need to create our paths. We have two different paths. We have these backup stored at, so we'll create those. I have the path where the database is stored. The database backups are stored. Program we just named was SPX Event Monitor Program. The warehouse server name is Phantom and is managing itself. This is not billable. We're only monitoring for backup successes at this point, so we can't monitor any billable information in this scenario. And I mentioned that the backups took place every 30 minutes, so if I haven't seen a new backup in an hour, I want to be warned, and so we'll create this path. And now we'll create the other one. And now we'll create our second path as well. All right, pasting in the path so I don't have any typos. And the program again is the same one we had created just a few moments ago. I'm going to do a grace period of 1 hour on this one as well, and it is the same server and managed server. Also not billable. We don't collect any information in this scenario that allows us to create billable information, so we'll create the path. And now we'll create our event sentries. So for our event sentry, we'll just name it something meaningful. The log we saw is application. I'll just double click that. It'll fill it in for me. The source, Shadow Protect. The event ID was 3. It was an information event. And it was a successful event notification. It was also it's a backup program. It's backup success. So it allows us to tell Insight, hey, this is related to an actual backup job taking place. And this is an event tied to a program, so we'll check that. And the program was SPX Event Monitor Program, and we will create this event. So now we'll sit back, we'll let this run for a bit, we'll make sure that we're not being alerted, and then what we'll do is we'll pause our backup jobs to ensure that we do get a backup, or excuse me, alert notification indicating that we've had some sort of problem. We've now given our event sentry some time. Our warehouse server knows it's interested in picking these events up, and it's going to, when it sees these events now, which was event ID 3 from Shadow Protect SPX source information, it knows that we're interested in those and it begins sending them up to the portal. And then we have one other step we need to do. We need to be able to tell what event belongs to which backup job. When we looked at this earlier, we saw that the events are identical for both jobs. You can see information, the source, the event ID, it's all the same. What's different is in the body of this event, we can see we have both the backup job name, MySQL, and we have the path here. And this is what's going to allow us to tease out which event belongs to which path. And as long as we have a unique identifier somewhere in the message body, that's really all we need. And with StorageCraft, we can use either one of these. You may have some other backup program that does some other unique identifier, but as long as there's something unique to those events, you can tell them apart. And so let's get started. Now that we have some events sent up to the portal, if I go in to edit my event Sentry, you'll see I've got the event pulled in up here. And if I wanted different events, I could pull in some of the different events that we have. So what I want to do is use regex, and regex is a very powerful tool. If you're not familiar with regex, it can be as simple as putting in the exact same thing. For instance, if it was always going to be backup, I could hit test and I can see it finds backup in that, and just the one instance of backup it's going to find for me. So, but what I do want is I want to create regex on this one event that is going to tell me which job it belonged to. So if I come here, I can see this one's MySQL. It's at this path, and we're trying to find path, a unique identifier, and I want to get this information right here. This is what I want to pull out: the 192.168.200.220 backups /db. Because if I pull that out, each time this runs, it knows this event will belong to this path. And if I can pull out the path exactly, it will automatically link this event to that path. If I use a unique identifier, for instance, the backup job name, there's an added step where I'll have to go in, I'll have to manually map that job name to the path in Insight. And so we'll look at this, ideally we should look at this both ways so you can see how they work, but let's do the auto linking. We want to get this path out of here, and I can't just type in the name. I mean, I could. The problem would be it would only match for the one. So I don't want it to match to the path exactly. I want to do something more powerful and give it the pattern to match to, so it can match to either path, either for the backup, the OS and code program or backup that I have, the base backup program, or the other one that we had, this MySQL program. The path is slightly different. And so we will do that with some regex. I have a site that I really do like. There's plenty of material out there on the web, but the one I like, regex101.com. And you can come in and put your string here and do some testing online as well. And it gives you some information on how you can do more robust matching. So I've already worked on my regex. I've got some put together. And this regex is really saying I'm interested in everything between 2 backslashes and the final backslash. So it's everything, it wants to include the 2 backslashes and then excludes it after the last backslash. So it's not going to pick up the image name, which is what it's matching to here. And if I change this to our other one and test it, you'll see it matches that one as well, even though this one's OS and code and this one is the MySQL in the DB folder. You can see that it will match both. And so we'll save our changes here. So now that we've saved our regex on matching our paths, what I want to show you is the path mapping. So in the path mapping, if we come down to global, we open this up. We're not going to have anything in here right now. Next time that events get sent up to the web portal with that regex, now that we've created it, it will look to try to create, or it will try to match any existing paths that we have automatically. And we see we've got these 2 paths that we have these events tied to. The one that's backups in DB and the other one's backups OS and code. And if it can match them exactly, it's going to automatically link them and know what belongs where. If instead we had used the backup job name, let's say, because these are unique, we could have used this, it wouldn't match the path that's been created in the system, and so it won't know which one belongs to which. But it will appear in this event's path mapping, and you'll have the opportunity to come in and just link it to the appropriate path. This will make more sense once we've had an opportunity to have the events get processed and the matching to take place. There's a few moving pieces with this whole thing. Again, regex, very powerful. Certainly a good tool to have in your arsenal if you're setting this kind of stuff up. And it is an advanced technique, so we understand you may not be comfortable with this. We're here to help. Just let us know. And through the magic of editing, we're back. Giving it time to process in the background, push some new events up. I've had backup jobs run. I've had events get collected on the local computer and sent to the web. And so let's refresh our path mapping page, and hopefully this makes sense now. And you can see, so it did, our regex worked. The event path that was found is this. And we are already linked. So we look here, we got a green check. It means it's linked. It's been linked to this actual path in the database that we had created before, the one we just looked at. And if it was wrong for some reason, we could unlink this. We could say, nope, that wasn't right. And you can see it turns red. But this just saves us a step if it can match it exactly. Otherwise, if we used the backup name here, for instance, it wouldn't be able to match the backup to the path, even though it's a unique identifier. We would come to this page and we would pick the appropriate path for the backup job name, and we would link it. And so now what I've done, I've paused one of these jobs. We're going to allow one of these jobs to go into an alert status. So I paused that MySQL job. That's the one that is pointed to the path that's backups /db. We'll give this some time to alert. We could put it, we'd set a threshold of 1 hour on this previously. So if I come back to my paths and I look at that DB, let's verify it's set to 1 hour grace period. I've paused the job. It's not going to create any new success events that are tied to this path with the regex that we had created and the path that we had linked. And because of that, it's going to know that the OS and code job is okay, but the MySQL backup job is not okay. It hasn't reported in within an hour. And so we'll come back and check on that here in a little bit. Okay, so we've given our program some time to be paused, at least the backup for MySQL. That's the backup job was going to this path here with backups /db. And I let the other one run normally. We had a 1 hour grace period on this, and it's been more than an hour. The last job was at 10:22 this morning. It's now 12:18, so it's been almost 2 hours. We're at our dashboard. We're going to refresh this. We should get a warning. And we do see we have one path with a warning. And if I open this up, we'll take a look and see what it is. It is, in fact, that backups /db path. And we can see we have an event warning here. If we hover over this, this will give us the last event that it has record of. And you'll see that it was generated, time generated was 10:22 and 42 seconds. That matches up well with the event that we have here, 10:22. And so you can see, because we have not had a successful event within the grace period that we had set, it's given us a warning that we need to investigate what's going on.